Hey, Lee Robinson here at American Sentinel K9. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to discuss how to read a pedigree. This is a question that I get quite a bit. People will contact me and say, Lee, what do you think about how this dog is bred? And that's a two-part question, really, because you have the pedigree, but you also have to have knowledge of the dogs in the pedigree. And this is kind of really important when it comes to reading a pedigree. Hopefully, as we discuss this, if you like it, we would appreciate a thumbs up or click the subscribe button down below. It helps our channel grow. So anyway, let's say here's the dog in question that you're curious about. You want to know how to read this pedigree. Well, if you go back 1, 2, 3, 4 generations, you'll see I have one check here. Why? Because that dog is worth 1/8 of what these dogs are worth. Why? Because these dogs back here are only 1/16 of the pedigree, and these dogs right here, the parents, the father and the mother, are 1/2 of the pedigree. So you'll notice that every time I come forward a generation, I double the checks, because this is 1/16 of the pedigree, then we have 1/8, then 1/4, and then 1/2. So obviously a 16th goes into a half 8 times. So these dogs are 8 times more important than what you have back here. However, you also want to look for consistency. Are the dogs in the pedigree that are further back and close up, what you want to see is the dogs are continually displaying the traits that you're looking for. So if you're wanting a working dog, you want to see working dogs here, and these working dogs here are 8 times more important than back there. But when you go back, you want to see that even if a dog's only mentioned in here once or twice in the pedigree, that even if it's far back, you still want that dog to be working blood, because those dogs, if they're outcrossed, you want those outcrossed genes that are coming into your pedigree to still be from working stock. So you know that even small percentages like 6.25% is still going to be working blood, not some outcross that's just diluting your gene pool with undesired genes. And what I mean by 6.25%, these first generation dogs are 50% of your offspring. This is 25%. This is 12.5%. And by the time you get to this generation here, you're down to 6.25%. And if you go another generation back, which a lot of people do, you're down to 3 1/8%. So it's a 1/32 of the pedigree. So let's say we're interested in this dog because of the great grandfather. Well, this is the father, this is the grandfather, here's the great grandfather. And let's say this great grandfather was a super great dog. Well, that dog is only 12.5% of your dog. And if you're buying a dog because of something that the great grandfather did, honestly, it's kind of foolish, because 12.5% is not going to be enough blood to really have any kind of consistency. But if that dog comes in multiple times, let's say that dog comes in here, well, this one here would be much more important because it's closer to the front. All right, so that's going to offer a much higher percentage. And if it comes in here, now even though it's back further in the pedigree than maybe a parent, believe it or not, by coming in like this, it's going to count just as much as a parent, because this is 50%, and so is this. This is 50%, but that is half of this. So we're going from the grandfather, which is now, it's not a great grandfather, it's just a grandfather, but we're just going to use the same label. And then here we have 12.5%. So it's 50, 25, 12.5, and it also 50, 25, 12.5 again from right there. And if you add this up, you get 50%. So now your pedigree is 50% of your father and 50% of the mother. But out of these two dogs, you'll see that that dog is also making up 50% of the gene pool, because these genes here are the same, are a large portion, 25% of these genes and 25% of those genes. So you have that dog coming in from the top and the bottom of your pedigree, which is going to increase what's called homozygosity. Again, is this enough reason to buy a dog? Absolutely not. It's not. You have to know what this other stuff is that's coming in. What is this? What is this? What is this? Are these dogs working dogs or not? And if they're not working dogs, I'm not going to buy a dog because I've got a great dog. It's got to be a great dog bred to a great dog. And I want to know that all of the genes in this whole pedigree are from working stock. So this is critical when you're looking at a pedigree. And let's say you have a bitch that's maybe right here, but she's coming in again, let's say right here and right here, because somebody was line breeding on this bitch to produce an inbred dog on that. Well, you're going to have 50, 25, 12 and a half, 6 and a quarter, and 6 and a quarter twice. So that's going to be 12 and a half right there, coming from the top side of the bottom. This is the bottom, but that's the top side of the bottom. And then you're going to have the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. So you're going to have 50, 25, 12, and again. And so even though that's far back in the pedigree, you're going to have 25% being focused on this blood as well. Is that dog a working stock? And you want to look to see if this dog here is a representation, a good representation of whatever this bitch was known for. So if that's a famous dog and this is a famous dog, you want to look to see, do those all the other dogs that are before and after. Like, for example, if this was a great dog, was his sire similar to him? Was his dam similar to him? Was his son similar to him? Was his daughter similar to him? So if all of these dogs are showing good consistency, this is what's important when you're reading a pedigree. All right, so I hope that helps. Now, as far as the second question, should I breed this dog? I cannot answer that for you, because for me to do that, I would have to know what your goals are. See, I can tell you if you should breed the dog for my goals, but I can't tell you if you should breed the dog for your goals. It depends on what your goals are. If your goals are the same as mine and you're wanting to start a program, honestly, the quickest way, the fastest way, and the cheapest way is going to be to buy a dog that's already produced by us, because by going out and trying to recreate this stuff, I'll tell you, I used to say $250,000, but now it's probably closer to $300,000 that I've had invested over the last 21 years. It's a tremendous expense, and you don't want to do that. So just get a dog from us if you're wanting to breed dogs like us. Now, somebody might think that's a sales pitch, but the truth is, hey, go spend you $250,000 if you want to. It's fine with me. But as far as if you're wanting to do something different, I can't answer that, because you just have to look at the dogs in the pedigree and see, do they display the traits that you're looking for, and do they do so consistently. And the reason I can't answer it is because I would have to know all the dogs in the pedigree, and that would take hours and hours and hours of study. And no offense intended, but I'm not going to spend hours and hours and hours of time learning every dog in the pedigree to see how well the dogs in the pedigree represent your goals, because I'm also going to have to spend hours listening to your goals, unless you're just like wanting to flip a quarter and have success. Well, real success doesn't happen that way. You may get lucky once in a while, but you're not going to be consistent with that haphazard approach. It really takes some science to go out there and find the foundation of what you're looking for. You're going to have to find high quality specimens to become your foundation, and that's going to create your gene pool that's known as the founder effect for that new population that you're going to create. And then when you outcross, you're bringing in some new genes, and then you're going to that's like what's called gene flow. So you're going to have a population of genes come into your program, and then you're going to select over time, and you're going to concentrate those genes that you desire, filtering out the undesired genes. That's called genetic drift. So it takes time to do all this, and you're going to have to look again for consistency. Look for the dogs in the pedigree to see if they consistently display the traits that you're looking for. Anyway, Lee Robinson from American Sentinel K9. Y'all have a blessed day.